tea time. It's Monday night. It's September 28th. It's the last Monday in September. Can you believe this, people? Just in a couple of days, it's going to be October. Crazy. But I know everyone can't wait for this year to be over. I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and get to my guest. Friday, didn't do too much, little running around, and I got my hair cut and color. Ooh, I was so excited. I haven't done that in like 3 months. Saturday went to Coaster's Tavern on Saturday night because my girl Kristen Tinsley was a guest bartender. And let me tell you something, she's a pretty good mixologist. Yes, we had a good time, a lot of laughs, saw some fellow comics and actors, and we just had a blast. Social distancing, wearing our masks, doing what we're supposed to do. So everyone, it was all good. And then Sunday was laundry day, and some of you know my daughter's birthday is Halloween, so we go a little crazy in this house. And Sunday was beautiful. It was like 75 degrees. It was gorgeous. And I hung up all my Halloween stuff outside, decorated inside. It looks really good this year. I'm so happy about it. On a personal note, I want to thank everyone for their thoughts and their prayers regarding my MRI. As most of you know, I had a brain tumor 5 years ago, and I had to have brain surgery. And the last 8 months has been a little rocky for me as far as my head goes. I've been having some pain and memory loss, and could be part of getting old. You never know, but I had to play it safe. I went for an MRI. Thank God the results came back okay. Nothing there. Well, I do have something up there. Sounds like nothing. It sounds like it's empty. Anyway, but I have to follow up with a neurologist and go for some major testing. But I just want to thank everyone because I love you all, everyone who reached out to me. It means the world to me. I'm such a blessed person. All right, so listen, I want to get to my guests. First of all, shout out, hello, Greg DiFilippo in Florida. Please like the show and share it. I have a very, very special guest tonight through a mutual friend. Andrew Kaempfer is an actor. He's a writer. He's a producer. He's been on many, many shows. So, one way or another, you've probably seen him. Welcome, Andrew, to my show. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing so well, especially now that I heard you had great results on the MRI. That's amazing.
Oh, Congrats. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah,
that makes me happy.
I could exhale.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, and who's Larry in Florida who hasn't?
Oh, that's Greg DiFilippo's watching.
Greg. Yeah. Larry is the guy who connected us. Come on, Greg.
Yes, Larry. Greg. Larry. Yes, Larry.
You gotta like the show, Greg. It's a great show.
So listen. So you're originally, because everyone's going to learn about you along with me, because you're originally born and raised in Vegas.
Yeah.
Correct. And there's many generations has gone back.
Yes, I am actually, I know it's rare. Thank you, first of all, very much for having me here. It's
Are you kidding? It's my honor. I'm thanking you for giving up 55 minutes of your time.
Well, we'll fight for the honor position. And then we'll go to your friend who's the mixologist, and we'll celebrate some once quarantine's really, well, no, we'll social distance. Anyway, I'm born and raised in Las Vegas. Not a lot of people can say that. Even more on my mom's side, I'm 7th generation. So one of the northern part, the farming, both this is before Bugsy and everybody in Vegas and became what it was. These are poor farmers settling upstate Nevada. So, but on her side, it's one of the oldest families you can trace back to the state.
Wow.
I actually, one of the I have the outline of the state of Nevada tattooed over my heart.
That's cool.
It's a very special thing for me. But my first 23 years were Las Vegas. So, I've only done, other than my 3 years in Rutgers, in Jersey, I've only done Vegas and New York. So.
Yes. Wow. And you went to the University of Nevada?
Yes.
Great.
Oof. All right. I'm going to have to hit you here.
So
it's a wonderful thing. So I have so many conversations. If you're in the state, it's Nevada.
Instead of Nevada.
It's one of those states,
Nevada,
right?
Nevada.
Well, I mean, it's like Missouri. It's one of those weird states, but the funny thing
my New York accent for that. I like that. Nevada.
And it makes total sense. And you are the majority who do it. But what's interesting is Nevada is one of the Wild West states, and people have just a way about it. Like if a politician comes through and they're like, "Good to see you in Nevada," done. Like, they hate you. They instantly hate you. They want nothing to do with you. So, So my grandma used to say that once you get Nevada in your bones, it never goes away. So
and then you did go to Rutgers University. It says Mason Gross School of the Arts, and you went for acting at both places. So when did you move to Nueva York?
I doubled down. Yeah, I went. I'm like, a bachelor's in acting isn't enough. I got to do a master's. Well, there was actually a story there. I used to be, at my biggest, I was 425 pounds.
Wow.
And this is when I was younger. This is when I was like, I think I hit that like my sophomore year of college. And so the roles that I was playing, like I was up for Big Daddy in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I'm playing like 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, things like that were just nowhere near. You don't look like that when you're in your 20s, early 20s, as far as your face goes.
Right.
So the roles that I was getting and the roles that I would play when I got out, because that's when I started, and then I lost about 150 pounds.
God bless. Good for you. Listen, I too, weight also ages you. And I also have struggled my entire life with my weight. My highest weight was 245. So, but
Congrats,
you're 6'3" and I'm only 5'2". So you can imagine what that looked like. Okay.
I'm sure you were. I'm sure you were just lovely the entire time.
No, but thank you. But no, that's congratulations though, because I know that struggle. It's not easy.
I mean, it's not regulated, right? It's not like alcohol or anything like that.
Right, because we have to eat on a daily basis.
Yeah. So unlike, I think it was Kraft, the owner of Kraft, who's like, water is not a human right. It's like, get out of here. Like, you're going to move in that direction, but totally different subject. So then from when I graduated, and then I had started losing a lot of weight and just working out, changing my diet, changing my life. I looked at, and then Rutgers was one of the schools who taught the same discipline, the Meisner technique, that I trained in, that I loved in.
Yes.
And it just worked for me. And so I went to the Erdas in Chicago. And I had offers on the West Coast and other places, but Rutgers just seemed like the fit for me. I don't 100% know why. I'm really glad it did. So I met with Bill Esper, who was Sandy Meisner's second.
Yeah.
And then so I trained under Bill, and I met Bill at the Erdas, and there was one of those situations where I went into, because you do it in hotel rooms and whatever, and so I go in and I interview for him, and it went really well, and he's like, yeah, I'd like to see you again. He's got this cadence, and something told me, you know what, you didn't really sell how much you want to go. So like a stalker, I brought another headshot and resume and waited outside of his door for several hours because I didn't know what his schedule was.
Yeah. That's something I would have done. Yeah.
And I handed him my resume, and he's like, I remember you. So he's like, kind of a waste of time, I guess. But I ended up getting into Rutgers and going, and that's where I got my master's degree, and it was a heck of an experience.
So what was your first professionally paid gig?
My first professionally paid gig, I actually hit the cutting room floor, and it's not on my IMDb or resume or anything. I shot it the spring, I believe, of my last year of graduate school. It's The Jacket. It was a movie with Keira Knightley and Adrian Brody. Mm-hmm. And so when I was in grad school, like, you can only imagine what this does to someone's, where you're just like, this is it, it's happening. And, so we shot it.
I said that with my first commercial.
Oh, so, yeah, everybody does. It's just like once you get, you're like, of course, naturally, I'm on the way, and then reality kicks you over and over and over again, and then you're like, well, just don't ever give it up. Yeah, and especially because it was in Montreal, so they like flew me to Montreal. I was in a hotel next to Chris Christopherson. There was this really weird story about Don Rickles was there and his manager and like all of this weird, and I'm like, okay, well, this, yeah. So it was a wonderful experience. I had one line, but it ended up being cut, and they totally kind of what ended up being the final product of that movie, and then what the like spec script and then shooting script I got were two completely different things. So that whole chunk just like disappeared. And, but that was my first official paying gig, but one that I never actually showed up in.
Right. So which one did you show up in?
Well, my right hand. See, that's what I mean.
A body part. Woohoo!
Yes. You can be. It goes from sipping free scotch with Don Rickles in Montreal, thinking it's going to be it, to you're an extra in The Squid and the Whale, and I handed Jeff Daniels a parking ticket or a valet ticket to get his car. And I had lines, and I was in it, and I was like, cool, I'm going to get, this is the one. And then when I saw the movie, then my entire body was cut out, and it's just my hand. So, you're like, okay, so this is the game.
What a hand.
Yeah, I mean, this is like I'm a big dude. I mean, this is like a catcher's mitt, but yes, it's.
So hello, Jennifer Lantini's watching, her too. She said, I understand her highest weight was 225 and she's only 5'2". She's a little tiny peanut now. But I just want to go through some television shows that you've been on that a lot of people out there, watch. Mm-hmm. You've been on Blue Bloods. And
that was the last thing actually. Yeah. That was
the last thing you did. You guest starred on Blue Bloods. And then there's Happy, which you have a reoccurring co-star role. Mm-hmm. In and Madam Secretary and The Blacklist, Gotham, Law and Order SVU, which my daughter said to me, my daughter's 22, and she said to me, I got so excited about the commercial, the Hotels.com commercial. I was like, this is it, right?
As well you should.
She's like, Ma, come talk to me when you're on Law and Order SVU. Okay, then. And I was like, really, Val? And she's like, yeah, Ma, when you're on Law and Order SVU. I was like, all right, okay, it'll happen one day. You were on God Friended Me, but you were on the pilot, right?
Yeah, I was on the pilot episode, yeah. And
I love the show. I watched it. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah. Turned, Washington Spies, also another reoccurring co-star. Deception, Bull, Redliners, which was a pilot also, Deadbeat, the Michael J. Fox Show. And I have to say, there's a lot of things that you do that I've watched, because you basically do it all. You do drama and you do comedy. And you're very funny. I have to say you're very funny as a comic. You're very funny. I think your timing is great. I think your facial expressions are like amazing, and you made me laugh. So you're trifecta, baby. That's all you need.
You're very kind, and you're making me blush. And thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Stop. All right. So listen, you know what? We're gonna take our first commercial break. It's gonna be really, really quick. I don't have any sponsors this month. I'm looking for sponsors. So if you want to advertise on my show, I'd love to advertise you. You get a 30-second commercial. It's played 3 times in 55 minutes. And just contact me how to get that done. So we'll be right back with Andrew Kaempfer. Thank you. Stay right there. Don't go away.
So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
Well, hi there, Theresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Theresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're here tonight. I want to thank John York from General Hospital. Just lovely words, John, and I hope I could get you on my show because I had Carolyn Hennessy from General Hospital who plays Diane Miller. So John, I'm hoping you come on my show one day. I'm putting it out there into the universe. So I'm back with Andrew Kaempfer, and Andrew is an actor and he's a producer and he's a writer. And we just went through a little laundry list of television shows that everyone and their mother watches, and it must be so exciting to, you know, like, how was it the first time you were actually on prime time television and your family watched or saw you? And like, I mean, because I know my mother would be doing a tarantella in the living room, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's split actually because they're both, they're both very proud of me, and my mom's over the moon about everything, and she records it, as does my dad. But especially some of the, the later work, like Blue Bloods that I did, Happy. I'm a crazy, Russian mobster in prison.
Yes.
I'm, same thing with Deadbeat. I'm a Nazi covered in tattoos. So he's like, why do you keep getting cast as the bad guy? I don't, you're so nice. Don't these guys meet you? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm also 6'3" and, a big dude. Yes. So and the other thing is I can do accents and I can hop back and forth.
Yeah, not for nothing, but that, I was impressed with that too. You can do a lot of accents. You can do, wait, I got to put on my glasses for this one. You can do British, English, Cockney, Eastern European, French, German, Irish, Jewish, Yiddish. I could do that one. New York, Russian, Slavic, Southeastern Bloc. I'm not too even sure what that is. And a Southern, which is pretty good, but that's amazing that you could do that many. Seriously.
Thanks. Well, in grad school, you do have specific classes about doing that. You learn IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, and you learn all of these symbols. And there's so many people who dedicate their lives to using it. I am not one of them. They're just like, no, just draw these 17 squiggly lines over the top of it. And it didn't land. It didn't resonate with me. Right. So like, here's a good example. So I know for the role for Happy, where I was on that, and I was playing a Russian. And they had done one round of auditions. They didn't find the guy they wanted. And then I got called in and they said, on the top of the audition form, it's like, there were Russian words in phrases in the audition, and they said, you don't have to say the Russian words.
Right.
But it was in the middle of a monologue that I had. So at the time when I was deep in Brooklyn, I just walked into the local Russian tire shop, and these guys thought I was nuts. And I'm just like, hey, I'm an actor. Can you please say these lines for me and record them into my phone?
Right.
And so I had to explain because they were just like, a little off put, but then they had a good time with it. And because in the lines are also like, kill him and chop his arm off, stuff like that. So, yeah. No, and I have no idea if this is actually what it is, but they're like, so they're just like, Zumachit Badlu. And you're like, all right. So then I go home and then I would just drill it and drill it and drill it and drill it.
Right.
And I kind of was able to manipulate it enough and get it enough where they were like, they asked me if I was Russian. I lied.
Wow.
I said I was. I said I was part Russian. I said I was part Russian, not all. But
All right.
so yeah, it's stuff like that. But it does take work. You have to know how to manipulate your instrument and and use stuff like that. So
yeah. It's very cool. It's very cool though. Do you like playing a bad guy versus a comedic role?
Oh, it depends. I mean, bad guys are a lot of fun, and they're a lot of fun because you're gonna get to do so many things. Like I had my hand chopped off. So then what is that like? And then that was the first time I worked with green screen and like losing a hand.
Right.
But I hit a part in my career where then you have the realization about who you are and what your type is and how you're going to get cast. And I just always knew I wasn't the guy who you were going to find climbing out of your daughter's window at midnight. I'm not that dude. I've never been that dude. It's not going to be like, I'm not the Romeo type. So when you embrace it and then you have fun with it and, you get to do a lot of really, really fun things.
Right,
but on the flip side, one of the funnest, it was a ton of work, but one of the funnest characters I played was a skit that I wrote and produced and acted in as Orson Welles' Speed Dating.
I watched it and it was great. I want everyone to find it. I think it's on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's called Orson Welles' Arm Candy.
Right. It's called Orson Welles' Arm Candy, and just explain it a little bit because it's hysterical. I loved it.
Oh, thanks.
That the black actress cracked me up when she's like, "You don't touch a black girl's hair." I was like, "Oh yeah, my God, it was great."
That's Brittany. Brittany's fantastic. She's one of my great friends.
Yeah.
And those are all my buddies and my friends.
Yeah.
I mean, so the way that came about was one of my producing partners who I'd done indie with earlier and done some other stuff. He had just had twins and was out but wanted to film something. So I wrote a piece. It was like a fever dream about Marilyn Monroe, because we know someone who's a Marilyn Monroe impression, does an impression of her, and her sitting down having a conversation with Orson Welles. And he was like, I hate the Marilyn Monroe idea because it's just not, it's too hack.
Yeah.
He's like, come up with something else. So then I thought of what would happen if you brought Orson Welles back today,
right?
In the age of TMZ, and that he would need to have a woman. He'd need to have some arm candy that he could go and like, I'm gonna go be seen at the restaurants and the clubs and all this.
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm at Nobu and all this. So then the concept came up in my head of, well, then let's send him speed dating with a mix of people. And since he was such an eccentric, you could have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I enjoyed watching you as Orson. I think you encapsulated him lovely, beautifully. Seriously, it was impressive. I liked it. It was very, very, very funny. I think everyone.
Actually. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And it was something that, and then I had done it later, and I've now done it. People have seen that and been like, "Oh, can you do this Orson voiceover for me?" But little side. So in the project, so the older woman who comes in.
Yeah, she was great too.
Yeah. Rest her soul. Her name's Avra Petridis. I lived across the hall from her, and she was a shut-in who had never done who never really speaks to anybody, but I became friends with her because I was going on vacation and offered her some mozzarella and stuff that I just bought from a farmer's market. We struck up a friendship, and it turns out she was the stand-in for the original Honey on Broadway for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. She was a student of Strasberg. She knew Strasberg, hung out with Strasberg, studied with Strasberg.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
She was working. The sad part of the story is She was working on one of the Greeks. It was Sophocles, maybe I don't know, Sophocles, Euripides, one of the Greeks, and she ended up having a mental breakdown. So it was, but had worked with absolutely the best. Her mother was actually the first female conductor of the Philharmonic, but I actually spent probably the last year of her life, because she has no relatives, she had no kids, she has nobody else. It was just her living alone in this apartment. And so I would come over every week or every 2 weeks and have tea with her and just sit down and record these conversations about her.
Sweet.
Yeah, about her going over and hanging out with Uta Hagen, and so I just learned so much and had so
that's priceless. That's priceless. Those are priceless conversations.
Yeah.
But Austin Wells isn't the only person you impersonate. You do a kick-ass Robert Gould.
Yeah, I have heard.
Sing! People, the man can sing! You could listen to me. You have such a beautiful baritone voice. I'm waiting for you to break out in some Barry White.
That was those were my sister's wedding videos. I've contemplated.
God, I loved it. I was like, I wish I was at this wedding. It was great.
Yeah, I've contemplated taking
come
those
on,
down.
the little kiss the girl. I was dying. I was like, this is fantastic. Really. Lot of fun. And what's really funny is that everyone's laughing, and I'm waiting for you just to break character for a split second. I'm waiting, but you just stayed there, because I know it's hard when when you're live and then there's really interaction going on. You want to respond to it. You know what I mean? But it was you can sing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was originally a complete knockoff of Will Ferrell, who was doing Robert Goulet on the SNL skits.
Yes.
So I would just wander around the house and go, da-da-dee-da-da-doo, and do that whole business. And then one of my sisters, for whatever reason, was like, do you want to do a tune at my wedding? So then and then the last of my sisters who got married, that was the Kiss the Girls, where I knew that Little Mermaid, and she said, I give you free license to do whatever. So, that's when
you put on your claws. You put on
the crab claw oven mitts. Yeah. And so I figured that whole thing out, and I was just like, and I thought that too. I'm like, why are you doing this? You don't have to do, I'm doing it because I love my sisters and I love my family, and I'll do anything for them. But like an overboard, no holds barred, I'm not breaking character performance at a wedding. It was just so sweet. And it meant to everybody in that, it meant a lot to everybody in that room, because you could see it by just their expressions and the laughter that it was just something that they enjoyed. Yeah. Well, and they're all still on the West Coast, in California and Nevada. Do you have any family here in New York at all? Or are they all back there? No. I am a lone gun. Yeah, no family. So, so then going back, and I moved out here in 2004, right after I graduated. So, so going back and doing stuff like that, and especially there's so many people there who hadn't seen me because I'd been away for so many years, and so anything like that. But then they started getting to see me on TV and stuff, which was fun. Yeah, that's so cool. It's just so cool. Hello, everybody watching. Thank you for watching. Please like the show and share it. I'm talking to Andrew Kaempfer, and he is an actor and a writer and a producer. We're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about film. We talked about television, and we're going to touch upon some movies. And there's a scary one in there too. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. I'm with Andrew Kaempfer, and Andrew is an actor and he's a writer and he's a producer, and he's been on a ton of television shows. And I want to talk about some film that you've done. Everyone loves a good horror flick, and you were in Child Eater. And was that your first horror flick that you did?
Yeah, yes, that was. It definitely was. I mean, yeah, it was definitely. I mean, it's out. I'm not going to give too much of it away.
Right.
But there's, when you have prosthetics and things, and you're like, okay, well, it opens up a whole new thing of, because if you're not using that, you were doing, okay, does my character have a limp? Like, what sort of, is there a physical manifestation that you're going to give to them?
Right.
Horror has that whole other, but so we filmed that in the Catskills and I believe it was an old zoo or something out there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you where that was.
Yeah, it's up in the Catskills. They'll kill me too. But so a lot of the scenes we actually shot that were in the hallways and in the basement where they used to keep the lions.
Mm.
So, during lions in winter and whatever, when they would storms, they would come and take them down. And yeah, so we shot the whole thing on location in Catskills, and most of it was in there. So, and I'm playing a police officer who's trying to investigate this thing, and you're walking down. It's several stories underground. You're walking down, and you can see these claw marks on the wall through cement.
Wow.
And so I'm holding a gun and a flashlight, and it's, shaking a bit. And so we did like the first take on the first day and whatever, and they're like, oh, great, that was really great. I think we got it in one take. Man, that was good. And I'm like, I'm scared to death. What are you talking about? Like, that was not acting. Like, it's pitch black. We're doing this. There's blood everywhere.
I saw that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, we're 2 stories underground. Like, there might be a lion here. Who knows? Like, I'm scared out of my mind. So some performances find you, So,
tell me about Talking to God. That you were the lead in that.
Oh, that was where I did the that's where I did the Yiddish accent. So it's doing the festival circuit right now. It actually has won a couple of awards. That was a very interesting piece. We shot the bulk of that in Long Island, oddly enough, and it's. I guess the best way for me to describe it is it's like eat, pray, and maybe Maya's going to kill me, but the best way I could quickly describe it, it's like Eat, Pray, Love meets A Christmas Carol.
Okay.
So it's a woman, an observational Jewish woman who's kind of lost her way, lost her faith, trying to find the way to it, and is visited by a man who's dressed up like as a doctor, but it ends up being the grandson of the man who founded Hasidim.
Wow.
So that was my character. So I didn't shave for, I think, 5 months.
Wow.
So I had a huge beard. I grew my hair out, and so and I had spent so much time, and I worked with a vocal coach and a dialect coach on perfecting it, because you need to show respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't matter whether I'm playing a Russian mobster in prison or whether I'm playing a Yiddish, religious figure. Like, I want to respect the region, the language, the people, the dialogue, the history, the tradition.
Right.
And then I remember, so I was so pumped to do it. And then we did the first take of it, and Maya's like, could we try that in just regular, and then we'll do one in each, like do one in Yiddish and do that, because I don't know if I want to just go that angle full out.
Okay.
And it was one of those great learning moments. And I don't know who this was, because usually this is not me at all, but I was just like, I prepared this whole thing to do it. And these are the choices that I made. And this is what I also brought into the audition room.
Right.
Like, this is what, the way I look at it. And, this wasn't when I started, I didn't do this, but now when I walk in, it's a blessing to have the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity every time. I'm excited to meet them. I'm excited to have the opportunity to collaborate with them. And what my audition is my offering to you of what I'm going to do when you cast me.
Right.
Like, I'm not in there. So, when people are like, do you have any questions? No, you shouldn't. Like, because this is just my own personal point of view and what I do.
Right.
Because, and if you're not interested, if you hire me off of what I do in the audition, like, of course we're going to collaborate. Of course things move. But if, big stuff like that, where we said we were going to go in this direction, and then I go off and I study and learn all this, and then you're, go, but it ended up, yeah. But then we ended up both loving it, and it was so much fun. And there's a whole cast of characters. So the Christmas Carol part of it comes in so they go back and start visiting other people who are infinitely happy with much less. And
that's a good lesson right there.
Yeah. So, but we have the ability, because I'm also a spirit, but I'm inhabiting a human person. It's this whole thing. But we can walk through a wall and then view like a fiddler who has nothing, barely anything to eat, but dances around and plays the fiddle and finds happiness in that regard.
Right.
And so through the film, like she gets a different understanding of what happiness means, and like really kind of has a nice journey on that. So that's that.
It's sweet. And you were in, you were in a ton of other movies. You were in Revolutionary Road, supporting Cadillac Records, Spencer, The Volunteers. But more recently, which I want to talk to you about, you shot a feature film last summer in Madrid called American Carnage, and you're a supporting lead in that. Tell me about American Carnage.
Well, American Carnage is actually the working title,
Right.
from what I understand, because then won an IMDb, but that's neither here nor there. It was an absolutely incredible experience, and like one of the leads of it, his name's Alan Maldonado, fantastic guy, great actor. He's in the brand new show coming out, Sneakerheads on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
He's the lead of that. So just meeting so many great people, working with so many cool people, and then being in Madrid,
yeah, that's a bonus.
Yeah, I
want to get there. That's on my bucket list. It is.
It's a fantastic city. It's a fantastic.
Yeah.
Just you can all of the different museums that are there, and the plazas, and and you could just sit out in one of the the Piazza Mayor and have sangria, and it's divine. Yeah, it was great.
That was your first time there?
Yes, that was my first time there.
Okay.
And my first time like going to Europe and flying and then staying, when we shot it, I shot my part in 2 parts. I was there for just over 4 weeks, just over a month. And then I came back for a week and then went back again. So, I really got to know the city. I really got to know the people. The people are incredible. Just the tapas culture alone, of just, being outside and having just tapas and, hearing the music. And, what really struck me also about that? Nobody honks their horn. I couldn't figure out what it was for like 2 or 3 days, because coming straight from New York, I'm like,
right.
What's missing? And
They have more patience there. I think things aren't as rushed and that frantic frame of mind. It's very laid back and relaxed. And the thing that I'm taking away from COVID is that we got to spend more time with people who we don't normally spend time with, because you're out and you're working and you're doing things. But that's what it is that everyone's in a hurry. Everyone's in a hurry. It's like, what are you in a hurry? What are you looking to get to that you can't get there slower. Do you know what I mean? It's like just
Oh yeah.
enjoy the journey. You know what I'm saying? It's like a guy who he honks, goes around you, and then you're side by side at the red light with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where'd you
totally.
go? Where'd you go?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, like there's something kind of wonderful and really lends to you being in a good mood when you just are able to take a nap and have a snack in the afternoon. Which for us, because all of the actors were American actors who they brought in, except for like some of the background and some of the day players, but all of the leads, Bea and everybody, like we all came from the States.
Right.
Actually, I think, only Bea Ortiz, she's from Chicago, and then I'm from New York, but everybody else came out of LA.
Okay.
So it was really fun experience for all of us who have just used to like the American process. And, on your first day, you're sitting there shooting and you're like ready to go. And they're like, okay, cool, siesta time. And they're bringing out snacks and trays for people, and people are laying there on mats and like chilling. And it just kept such a cool vibe. Like the cast was amazing. Like I teared up when I left that because it was just such a meaningful, wonderful film to be a part of, and such a great experience.
It's just a different way of life. But I've never been to Europe. I've never been. My goal on my bucket list is Italy, Spain, Ireland, Greece. I mean, I just like to try to get there one day. You know what it is? Because I found out that if you wait for someone to go with you, you never get to go. So you know what? When everything calms down and we're able to travel, because there's so many places where we can't go right now, but I definitely want to check that off my bucket list.
Norwegian Airlines, Norwegian?
Mm-hmm.
So Norwegian will have specials out of Stewart Airport. So they don't, one of the ways their cheaps are really their flights are really cheap.
Okay.
And one of the ways they do it is that, so a lot of the times when you're flying out of Newark and then you're coming into like, let's say Dublin, or you're going into Milan or something like that, you're paying airport taxes, you're paying all this different stuff. But one of the ways Norwegian keeps their prices low is they fly out of like Stewart, and instead of flying into Dublin, you'd fly into like Cork or one of the small, but but I mean, I went to Ireland 2 years ago for a week.
Nice.
Rented a car. Had never driven on that side of the street. That's a whole other experience. That's intense. I did it to myself because we flew in and then got the car at the airport and then went right on the freeway. I'm like, smart, very smart, Andy. Like your trial by fire is 70 miles an hour. And you're on the opposite side of the car, on the opposite side of the street, and there's a stick shift, and the pedals are different. You're like, we're gonna die.
No.
We're all gonna die. Luckily, we didn't. Like, and Galway ended up being my favorite city.
Oh, nice. No, that's beautiful.
You should check it out.
But
look at
definitely.
Norwegian Air. They have great flights.
Thank you. I'm gonna do that. But what we're gonna do now is also take our last quick break, and more with Andrew when we come back. Don't go away.
Yes.
So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Coasters Tavern is located at 487 New Bridge Road in East Meadow. Their number's 516-557-2222.
Okay.
And you're on.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you could join me tonight. I'm with Andrew Kaempfer, and Andrew is an actor and he's a writer, he's a producer, and you know what? He's so talented. He can do comedy, he makes me laugh, he does drama, he does all these accents. And I want to talk about, because we have 10 minutes left, but I want to talk about, you just wrapped a short film called Dear, Deer, Hide, Hide, which you star in and you produced, and also one of your producing partners, Jarrett Kerr, also wrote the film. So you can tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd love to. It was definitely a passion project. And Jarrett and I, like you said, the volunteers earlier, like Jarrett wrote that, I acted, I have a small part in that, and that just got distribution, which was amazing. And so we, I have a little crew, and that was one of the important lessons that I learned, where I'm sitting here going, you can't wait for the industry to come to you. You have to go to it. Brad Pitt's exception, like there's exceptions, like, the industry will tell you when you're an exception. If not,
Right,
then,
right.
I'm a big believer in that.
But I have to say, Andrew, for someone like me who I've been on stage since I'm little, but I'm really serious into the acting. About 4 years ago, after I had my surgery, I was like, I've acted all my life in community theater and off-Broadway shows and stuff like that, but now I really want to hone into it. And for someone like me who's looking at your resume and I'm like, that's what I want. This is what I want. I don't want to be famous. I want to be a working actor. That's what I want to be. I just want to keep working. And I have to say, you're doing it, and you're living the dream, and you're working your craft. And this is something that's rare for a lot of us. So kudos to you, because I think you're amazing. I really do.
Thank you. And as do I enjoy your stand-up a great deal. I saw you in the show with Larry in Long Island. That was amazing.
You came to the Argyle Theater?
Yeah. I went all the way out. Come on.
Oh, that's cool. So you know that I played both parts? Did you know that I played both parts? I played the Hispanic aunt, and then I played the blonde ditz.
I went back and did some research for this. Yes, I did.
You son of a gun, you researched me.
Well, yeah, I want to be prepared,
Hey, you know what? I could appreciate that, Andrew. I can. So tell me about Deer Hide, because it's an amazing storyline.
Yeah, I had a point, and with my other friends, we had points where it was just like, we want to make stuff that not only matters, that fulfills us, that tells a story, and that's about the work, and it's giving you something to really to bite into. And so we wanted to investigate soldiers with PTSD coming back, and kind of the disenfranchisement that happens. I have some family, and some of the other people involved have family who have been in conflict zones, have served, etc. And so, but I actually didn't know when Jarrett pitched me the idea because we knew we were going to work on a project. We were actually bowling, and I was like, we need to do our next thing. And he handed me a 1-page synopsis, I think 2 days later. And then we morphed it. And then, like I said, we should talk about war and all this. The ideas of getting there don't matter. But so it's a story. So a deer hide is we were in Pennsylvania, and I didn't know what this was, but a deer hide is like a shack out in the middle of the woods that hunters will go and sit in for hours and hours and hours, and then wait for a deer come by and then kill it.
Right, they hide.
So you're hiding in this, and like you're hanging out, and it's like you have a lot of time sometimes where you're waiting and communicating with whoever you're with, but you do have to be quiet. And that concept fascinated us, because you could have this free time where the world is quiet. And so I play a character who aptly named is Andy, whose life fell apart after he came back from the Afghan war and has severe PTSD. So again, another one, got to grow my beard out, got to grow my hair out.
Yeah.
I gained 20 pounds for the role because I took shrapnel in the hip, so he has a limp. And so it's about him abandoning society and moving off and living off the grid and trying to be away from people. And, his best friend who's getting married in Las Vegas or having a bachelor party in Las Vegas wants him to come, but my character's so far gone, he's not able to handle people. Large crowds, things like that. So we end up that the way we're going to celebrate his pending nuptials, since I can't go, is we're going to go hunting together, him for the first time. And and it'll give us a chance to talk and catch up. And he hasn't seen me since I've come back to the war because I've abandoned everybody. So it has an emotional component to it because we're able to dive into what is that like when best friends and you have one go through so much trauma and not be able to accept any love, help, support, and from the other one who wants to give it, and there's so many dynamics.
It's like an emotional roller coaster because I'm sure he wants the friend that he knew, and that friend's gone, and this is the friend he has now.
Yeah.
So it's
then of course there's. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's almost like an acceptance.
Yeah, completely. It's, and he's like, I'd love to, but I can't. I just can't. I just one of the mental casualties of war, as well as the legitimate casualties of war, and it really helped me. Like I talked to a lot of soldiers. I went and donated time and money and learned about it and how little they get. If you get shrapnel,
it's very sad. It's a very sad situation that there isn't more for them.
Yeah. If you're wounded in war, but you don't lose a limb, you get an extra couple of dollars a month. It's like they have a staggered set of you only lost one. And it's really
wow.
So that fascinated us. But then of course, because it's, you do have to, we took it spins into a bit of a thriller. And then the ironic thing is, my character then, because we are hunting and there's guns and there's an accident that happens. And the ironic thing is my character who loathes the experiences he has and the utilities and lessons and, abilities he has, with firearms or whatever. These things that he loathes, ironically, are the things that may come back and help save his life and get him out of these situations that end up happening. That's my best explanation.
And where did you film this?
We filmed it out in Pennsylvania, actually. Thanks, Nathaniel, who is our co-star. His folks have an active rock quarry and a large piece of land out there. So we went out in May and it was 100-degree heat.
Wow.
And took a whole crew out there and yeah.
Well, listen, we only have a minute left. We have to wrap up, Andrew. How can people follow you, watch you? Where can they find you? You can find everything on my website, which is andrewkaempfer.com. The spelling is a little weird. Kaempfer is Kaempfer. Yes.
So had a lot of guff for that in school. No one ever got that right. But andrewkaempfer.com, you can find me, and then my Insta's on there and all of that other good stuff.
Right. Good. Well, listen, I just want to thank everyone for watching the show tonight. Please like it. Please share it. Again, Andrew Kaempfer, I want to thank you for taking this 55 minutes out of your day and spending it with me. It was a lovely meeting you. I'm so glad Larry connected us. And you don't go away, but everyone else is. Everyone, see you next week. Ciao. Stay safe.
Bye, guys. Stay safe, everyone.